Hello Capstone learners, welcome to EDU 693, Video 1.1, Introduction to the Capstone Project. In this set of slides, we want to take a look at an overall view of the importance of laying the base of your work here in the opening chapter, as well as looking through some of the key things as you make that first impression with your audience moving forward. As I said before, one of the goals of Chapter 1 is quite honestly just laying the base of your work, just getting a base idea of what's going on. Some of the key elements that you want to take a look at here are introducing your audience, obviously, to the project that you're doing. One of the key things here in Chapter 1 that you want to do right away is stating the gap that exists in the research, or at least stating a problem that exists. Quite honestly, you selected this topic because there was probably some element of missing piece going on in your work setting or at your school or something of that nature. Or you saw something at your school that was good but deserved to be better for the student or for your faculty or for your work setting. So this is important to get out into the open as you begin right away so that your audience is fully aware of what it is you're trying to solve as you move forward in subsequent chapters. Obviously, you want to go in with your rationale for studying this project, coming at it from an angle where you identified the gap first of all, and then kind of laid the rationale for why this gap exists and what it is you hope to do in solving it. You want to take a look and share the context of your study. Where are you coming at this project from is an important thing to do as you kind of introduce and guide your audience into this study. It's important towards the end of the first chapter that you define the terms that you're using. A lot of the educational terms that are out there can have a universal definition to them. Some of them can be a little bit more specific. So just so that everybody is on the same page with understanding your terms, it's incumbent upon you to define those so that we all have the working understanding of those terms as we move forward. And then finally, you'll want to lay out the plan of organization and then the summary. Obviously, we want to know in the following chapters, chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5, how you plan to lay this out. The vast majority of that will be laid out in detail in chapter 3 as you tell us exactly how you anticipate you'll move forward and so on. It's important to note at this time, however, that the first chapter of your project may actually not be the first material that you write. And maybe some of you have already found that out in other courses, maybe EDU 692, your research design, where you may have really attacked Chapter 2, the literature review, because quite honestly, most of you have spent a fair amount of time looking at literature throughout your entire program. If not your whole program, then certainly in this independent stage where you've been in practicum or most certainly in your research design course. So no big deal if you're not starting at Chapter 1 and you have all of your Chapter 2 laid out. That's perfectly fine. It's all going to blend in perfectly well as we move forward. So, introduction to the project really sets the stage for everything. So this is really where we begin. These are your opening paragraphs, and this is your first impression moment, students. This is where you want to make a positive impact to your audience as they read this, as well as when you deliver your presentation and delivering your rapport with that group as we move forward. Typically, you'll find that to be about 3 or 4 pages long. That's a little bit flexible. It's the first thing the reader sees, so as I said before, it needs to be well crafted. Set us up so that we can glide right into what it is you're trying to share with us. Like I said before, it usually is an indication of a problem, or you might hear me call it a gap that needs to be pursued. This will get fleshed out as we kind of move forward in a following set of slides. And this is a draft form as you begin. Don't take this too seriously as you go. You'll come back to this at the end of putting this whole chapter together. You'll revise this at the end of the chapter that you're writing. You'll probably actually revise this throughout the entire capstone process. So be willing to take this chapter as well as all of the chapters in your capstone project in what I call a recursive nature. It's going to spin back and forth. You're going to have great days where you make absolutely terrific progress, and there'll be other days where you will take one step forward only to have to go 2 steps back. It is the life of a researcher, folks, so don't be too hard on yourself if that happens. So come back to this at the end. You'll capture the overall essence of the project at its completion stage. That's what we have here for the first opening thoughts as we begin. At this point, if you are ready to move on to 1.2, I encourage you to do so. Good luck on your progress.